"Excuse me, you're in my seat," Amara Jenkins says, her voice soft but undeniably firm. The aisle of Flight 1982 has fallen into an uncomfortable silence as she waits for the woman blocking her path to move. Ms. Peterson, a woman in her 50s, is sprawled across the aisle, her legs stretched out. Amara, an 11-year-old girl with a shiny metallic walker for support, stands frozen for a moment, her boarding pass pressed tightly in her hand. She can feel the stares of the passengers. Some glance at her with pity, others with curiosity, but none of them speak up. The silence presses in, the kind that makes Amara feel both invisible and hypervisible at the same time. The injustice of it stings deep in her chest. Miss Peterson doesn't move. "I think you've made a mistake, sweetheart. This is my seat." Amara stands still, barely a foot from the woman. Her cheeks flush with heat, but she doesn't break eye contact. Her voice is steady. "I'm sorry, but my boarding pass clearly shows this is 2A. My seat." The woman doesn't budge. The other passengers glance around nervously. Some shuffle in their seats, unwilling to intervene. A man in a black shirt stirs in his seat, looking ready to speak up but holds back. The tension is palpable, and then the flight attendant, Sandra, arrives. She looks briefly at Amara's boarding pass and sighs, turning to the young girl with a dismissive air. "It seems there's been some confusion. You'll have to sit in economy." Amara's stomach tightens. The humiliation stings more than she expected. The eyes of the passengers are now on her, but there's no sense of solidarity. Everyone seems to expect her to retreat, to give in. She feels both invisible and hypervisible, a strange, suffocating contradiction. But then, she hears her father's voice in her head. "Stand firm, Amara. You belong here just as much as anyone." Amara Jenkins is no ordinary child. At 14, she is already the founder of Dreamscape Technologies, a billion-dollar educational tech company that has changed the landscape of learning for children worldwide. Despite her young age, Amara is a force to be reckoned with. She built her empire from her bedroom, coding in between schoolwork, while her father, Marcus, worked late hours, ensuring they had what they needed to sustain their ambitious dream. Her platform, Dreamscape, is now used in schools across 47 countries. Yet Amara's achievements are rarely seen or acknowledged in the media, and she works hard to remain out of the public eye. It's not her face people know, but her work. However, in the world of business and tech, especially as a young black girl, even success like hers doesn't protect her from prejudice. At this moment, on Flight 1982, Amara is reminded of just how much society still doesn't recognize her worth. She is a billionaire at 14, yet to the world, she's just another young girl, her potential dismissed by the woman sitting in her seat. Marcus Jenkins, a former electrical engineer, left his corporate job to support his daughter's vision. He has watched her grow from a precocious child with a brilliant mind to a determined CEO, handling business meetings, investors, and international partners with a composure most adults would envy. "Remember, Amara," Marcus tells her as they board their flight. "The world may see you as just a kid, but your mind is your strength. Don't let anyone forget that." His words are a steadying force as they head to the airport, where the battle for Amara's dignity will unfold once more. Despite the stress and the emotional weight of their journey, Amara has always found comfort in her father's belief in her. But on this flight, the world seems determined to make her feel small. And Amara, though fiercely resilient, is tired of constantly having to prove herself, tired of being the token genius, tired of fighting battles she never asked for, but still she holds her ground. She has to. As Amara reaches her seat in first class, the confrontation continues. Ms. Peterson, still sitting with her legs stretched across the aisle, eyes her boarding pass and sneers. "You'll need to find a seat in economy. There's no way you belong in 2A." The sting of these words hits Amara like a physical blow. The heat rises in her cheeks, and she feels the space around her contract. She wants to disappear, to give in, to walk away and find a place to hide. But then she recalls the pep talk her father gave her that morning. She is not invisible, and she will not let anyone make her feel small. Flight attendant Sandra, now, seeing the standoff, stands with a clipboard in hand and shrugs nonchalantly. "I'm sorry, Miss Jenkins, but it seems like you'll have to move. First class is full." The words slice through Amara. She doesn't just feel humiliated. She feels like an object, a child to be discarded. Her fingers grip the metal of her walker tighter, but she doesn't back down. The heat in her face is a reminder of the unfairness she faces every day, being seen as less than. And yet, here she stands, strong and determined. A few passengers begin to murmur, visibly upset by the situation. A man in a black shirt stands up, arguing with Ms. Peterson about her behavior. "This isn't right," he says, his voice rising with indignation. But Ms. Peterson only glares at him, her focus never wavering from Amara. "I'm a frequent flyer. I deserve this seat," she says coldly, still not moving. Amara looks to her father, in the economy section. His eyes are locked on her. There's a steadying presence in his gaze, but Amara can see the quiet anger in his expression. He knows what's coming. They've both fought this battle before. The tension in the air is thick, and Amara's patience is wearing thin. She's standing in the aisle, her body trembling slightly from the weight of the humiliation, the eyes of the passengers on her. She could give up and sit in economy like Sandra suggested, but her father's words echo in her mind. "You belong here." Marcus, watching from the back of the plane, reaches for his phone. His fingers move quickly, dialing a contact at the airline. His voice is low, but his words carry the weight of someone who has fought these battles before. "Listen, I'm Marcus Jenkins. My daughter is in her rightful seat, and she's being treated with disrespect. This isn't just a seat dispute, it's about more than that. I have the ability to ground your fleet if this isn't resolved immediately." Captain James Sullivan, hearing the conversation from the cockpit, steps into the cabin. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announces, his voice smooth but commanding. "It has come to my attention that one of our guests has been denied their rightful seat. Miss Amara Jenkins, founder of Dreamscape Technologies, is the young woman who has been wrongly treated here. In this airline, we treat all guests with respect, especially those who've made a difference in the world. Therefore, Ms. Peterson, you are hereby moved to economy for the remainder of this flight." The cabin goes silent. Every head turns. Ms. Peterson's face turns pale, and she glares at the captain, but he doesn't waver. "Flight attendants," Captain Sullivan continues, "please assist Miss Jenkins to her seat in 2A, and kindly ensure Ms. Peterson's belongings are moved to her new seat." The air feels different now. The tension, the fear, the humiliation that had gripped Amara evaporates. In its place is respect. In its place is justice. As Amara moves to her seat, she looks around at the passengers, who now seem to regard her with awe. Some exchange glances, clearly embarrassed by what they've witnessed. Others appear visibly relieved that justice has been served. As the flight continues, the passengers whisper among themselves. Ms. Peterson, now seated in economy, sulks quietly, her previous arrogance entirely stripped away. For Amara, the moment is bittersweet. She doesn't feel triumphant or vindicated. She just feels seen. She isn't invisible anymore. The world has taken notice of her. In a rare moment of connection, one of the passengers who had earlier spoken up for Amara offers her a shy smile. "You handled that better than anyone could have," he says quietly, giving a slight nod. Amara nods back, her expression softening, grateful for the few who chose to stand with her in that moment. Her father, watching from the back of the plane, looks at her with pride. There's no need for words. They both know this is just another battle in their ongoing fight against the prejudice that seeks to keep people like Amara out of places they rightfully belong. The plane has finally leveled out after the tense moments of the seating dispute, and the hum of the engines fills the cabin once again. Amara, now settled into her seat in first class, gazes out of the window at the sprawling city below. For a moment, the world feels a little less heavy. She's not a child in the eyes of the passengers anymore. She's a force. But despite the justice served, Amara can't shake the feeling of what this situation represents. The world might have seen her as small before, but now they've seen her stand tall. It's not just about the seat, the walker, or the rude passenger. It's about the systemic prejudice that lingers behind every action, every assumption. In some ways, this confrontation was just the beginning. Her father, Marcus, walks back to first class after the flight has stabilized, his eyes searching for her. When he meets her gaze, there's an unspoken understanding between them. They've fought battles together, but this one feels different. "How do you feel?" Marcus asks, his voice gentle, not wanting to disrupt the calm that settled over her. Amara looks up at him, and for the first time in a while, she allows herself to smile. "I feel like I'm exactly where I belong." Marcus nods, pride swelling in his chest. "You've always belonged, Amara. And the world will see that one step at a time." Amara takes a deep breath, letting the weight of her father's words settle within her. As the flight progresses, she finds herself thinking about all the moments she's had to fight to be seen for who she is, not just as a young entrepreneur, but as a person with an unshakable drive to change the world. This isn't just about business. It's about proving that despite the challenges, she won't be silenced. She leans back in her seat, staring out at the vast sky stretching out before her, her heart steady and her resolve stronger than ever. She's ready for whatever comes next. As the plane touches down, Amara's mind races with what comes next. Her journey has just begun. Dreamscape is growing, and so is her influence. But the real fight lies ahead, not just for success, but for justice, fairness, and equality. She knows her work isn't just about tech. It's about changing the game for everyone who's ever been overlooked. This fight isn't over. It's just beginning. Amara's story is only starting to unfold, and with every step, she'll continue to challenge the barriers that stand in her way. She's determined to show the world what's possible when you refuse to be underestimated. If you enjoyed Amara's story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more inspiring content. What do you think? Will the world ever fully recognize the power of young people like Amara? Or is it up to individuals like her to change the game themselves? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.